Imagine being one of the greatest thinkers of your time, a brilliant mind who shaped the foundations of Western thought. Yet, instead of living out your days as a revered philosopher, you get caught in the ruthless world of politics, ultimately losing your life in a brutal purge. This is the story of Cicero, a man whose incredible intellectual achievements were overshadowed by his political missteps. What if Cicero had stayed out of politics altogether? Could he have been remembered like Virgil or Appian, as one of Rome's greatest minds, untouched by the cutthroat political arena? Let's dive into how Cicero's entry into politics ultimately led to his tragic downfall and explore what his legacy might have been if he had focused on philosophy rather than power. To understand why Cicero supported Caesar's assassination, we need to first understand his complicated relationship with Caesar. Cicero wasn't part of the conspiracy to kill Caesar, but his endorsement of the act revealed much about his political beliefs and fears. Cicero admired Caesar's talents, his charisma, military genius, and leadership skills, but he was deeply troubled by Caesar's rise to power. Caesar's appointment as dictator for life threatened everything Cicero stood for. The Roman Republic, with its balance of power and rule of law, was being dismantled by a single man. To Cicero, Caesar's accumulation of power symbolized the death of liberty and the Senate's role as a governing body. So, when Brutus and Cassius, along with other senators, plunged their daggers into Caesar, Cicero saw it as an act of salvation, an attempt to restore the old order and protect the Republic from descending into tyranny. Cicero's support for Caesar's assassination was driven by one overarching belief: the Republic had to be saved at all costs. Cicero saw the Senate as the heart of Roman politics, the institution that represented tradition, law, and the voice of the aristocracy. For him, the Republic was more than just a system of government. It was the embodiment of Roman greatness. In his mind, removing Caesar was the first step in restoring the Republic to its former glory. The Senate would regain its authority, and Rome would return to its system of shared power, where no one man could dominate the state. Cicero envisioned a political rebirth, one where the ideals of justice, virtue, and law would triumph over the personal ambitions of power-hungry leaders. But this vision was deeply out of touch with the realities of Roman society at the time. While Cicero believed the assassination of Caesar would restore the Republic, he fundamentally misjudged the situation. In his idealistic view, the Senate could pick up the pieces and return Rome to stability after Caesar's death. However, Cicero failed to recognize how much things had changed in Rome. The people loved Caesar. He wasn't just a dictator in their eyes, he was a hero. His populist policies, such as land reforms and grain distributions, endeared him to the plebeians and veterans. By the time of his death, Caesar had immense popular support. Cicero and the other senators vastly underestimated this. When the assassins struck, they didn't restore the Republic. They created a power vacuum and enraged a populace that saw Caesar as their protector. Cicero also failed to predict how the aftermath of Caesar's assassination would play out. Instead of the Senate regaining control, new power players emerged: Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal lieutenant, and Octavian, Caesar's young heir. These two men quickly filled the power vacuum and began their own struggle for control. Cicero's dream of a restored republic was slipping away, replaced by a new era of civil war and autocracy. After the assassination, Cicero believed he could still save the Republic by playing Antony and Octavian against each other. He threw his weight behind Octavian, believing the young heir could be used as a tool to eliminate Antony. Cicero even delivered his famous Philippics, a series of speeches condemning Antony as a threat to the Republic. But Cicero had once again miscalculated. Octavian was no puppet. While Cicero thought he could control the young Caesar's heir, Octavian had his own ambitions. In a shocking turn of events, Octavian reconciled with Antony, forming the second triumvirate with Lepidus. Together, they launched the Prescriptions, a series of political purges that targeted their enemies. At the top of that list, Cicero. Cicero's gamble had failed spectacularly. His support for Caesar's assassination, his opposition to Antony, and his belief that he could manipulate Octavian all backfired. Far from restoring the Republic, Cicero had inadvertently paved the way for its final collapse. The Republic he loved so dearly was slipping into the hands of the very autocrats he had fought against. In 43 BCE, Cicero was captured by Antony's forces. His death was brutal. His hands and head were cut off and displayed in the Roman Forum as a warning to others. The very man who had once been Rome's greatest orator was now a victim of the violent political world he had tried to navigate. Cicero's decision to support Caesar's assassination was rooted in his idealistic belief in the Republic and its institutions. But his failure to see the changing political dynamics of Rome, especially the rise of populism and the personal ambitions of figures like Antony and Octavian, led to his downfall. Cicero's story is a powerful reminder of the dangers of political idealism when it's disconnected from reality. His belief that Rome could return to its republican roots blinded him to the fact that the Republic was already dead. In the end, Cicero's political gamble to support Caesar's assassination didn't save the Republic, it helped destroy it. Cicero's support for Caesar's assassination was in his mind a necessary act to restore Roman liberty. But his political gamble failed. Instead of saving the Republic, Cicero misread the situation and was ultimately swept aside by the forces he couldn't control. While his writings and speeches remain influential to this day, his political career ended in tragedy. Cicero's story serves as a reminder of how even the most brilliant minds can be blindsided by their own idealism, and how, in the brutal world of Roman politics, ambition without realism is a dangerous path to walk. If you found Cicero's story intriguing, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Join us as we continue to explore the fascinating intersections of history, philosophy, and politics, uncovering lessons from the past that resonate in our world today.